Welcome to Wisdom Unveiled. Today, we're going to talk about a philosopher who died over 1,000 years ago, but whose ideas, well, they might just be the key to breaking free from the echo chambers of our modern world. His name is Al-Farabi, and his thinking has been quietly shaping our world for a millennium. All right, before we jump in, just a quick heads up. This explainer is based on translations of some really deep conversations. We've done our absolute best to capture the spirit of it all, but you know how it is with translations. Some of the finer details might get a little lost. Okay, let's get into it. So let's just tackle the biggest question head on, the one that this whole thing is built around. In a world that's changing faster than ever, why on earth should we hit the pause button and listen to someone from the 10th century? What could he possibly have to say to us now? So let's start with section 1. We're going to get to know the man at the heart of this 1,100-year-old question, Al-Farabi himself. Because, to really get why his ideas are still so powerful, you first have to understand the world that made him. So this is Farabi. And he wasn't just some philosopher. He was considered the first great philosopher of the Islamic world. Now just try to picture it. He's working in Baghdad during this incredible intellectual golden age. It was this vibrant, multicultural hub, basically the intellectual center of the universe at the time. He wasn't just living through it, he was one of the architects. And that brings us right to section 2, what we're calling philosophy's timeless conversation. Okay, so Farabi lived ages ago. How can his thoughts possibly still matter? Well, to answer that, we've got to understand something really fundamental about what philosophy is and how it's totally different from something like science. Okay, so think about it like this. Science moves forward by, replacing the past. We don't use Plato's star charts to launch a rocket, right? Kepler and Newton gave us better tools, so we use those. But philosophy? It's a different game entirely. It moves forward through dialogue. We don't just get over Plato. We argue with him, we engage with his ideas, we're still in conversation with him, right now. And that's really the heart of it. When we study a thinker like Farabi, we're not, digging up some dusty old artifact. We're plugging into a live, ongoing conversation about the biggest questions there are. Because philosophy, it speaks the language of existence, and that's a language that just doesn't get old. This idea of an ongoing conversation leads us perfectly into section 3, investigation over imitation. See, Farabi pinpointed this core method for finding truth, a huge difference between the right way and the wrong way to learn things. And honestly, it's a lesson we could really use today. So Farabi saw this massive roadblock to real knowledge, this trap that so many of us fall into. He called it Tahqiq. You can think of it as blind imitation. It's when we accept something is true just because it's popular or because it's what we've always been told, without ever really stopping to check for ourselves. And his solution, his way out of that trap, is this right here, Tahqiq. It is the complete opposite of imitation. It's the active, personal, sometimes difficult work of investigating ideas for yourself, of doing the thinking required to get to a truth that you can genuinely say is your own. And the cool thing is, Farabi totally practiced what he preached. He didn't just read Plato and Aristotle and then parrot what they said. No way. He wrestled with their ideas. He challenged them. He found the connections. And he ended up creating something totally new and profound. He showed that the real way to honor the great thinkers of the past is to engage with them critically, not just copy them blindly. Now, this idea of investigation leads us straight into section 4. And this is where Farabi's thinking feels like it could have been written yesterday. He takes one of the most famous stories in all of history, Plato's cave, and gives it a radical, modern twist. We've all heard about Plato's allegory of the cave, right? The prisoners chained up, watching shadows dance on a wall, thinking that's reality. Well, Farabi's stroke of genius was to say, hey, that cave, it's not some ancient mythical dungeon. It's a state of mind that any one of us can fall into right here, right now. So what is this modern cave? Well, for Farabi, the cave is simply the world of Tahqiq, the world of blind imitation. The chains that hold us there, those are just our own unthinking habits and our comfortable biases. And the shadows on the wall, well, those are the popular opinions, the hot takes, the headlines we all accept as reality without even thinking about it. So, escaping the cave isn't about some big physical journey. It's about a mental one. It's the conscious choice to stop imitating and start investigating. The very moment you decide to begin that process of tahqiq, that's the moment you take your first step out of the darkness and into the light. And this incredibly powerful idea of the mental cave brings us to our fifth and final section, Understanding Farabi's lasting legacy, it's all summed up in this amazing title he earned, which really cemented his place in history. Because he had this incredible ability to master and connect all the knowledge of his time. I mean, everything, from logic and politics to music theory. Farabi earned this remarkable title, the second teacher. So who is the first? Aristotle. Yeah, that's the league we're talking about here. This wasn't just a compliment. It was saying that he took everything that came before and pushed it forward for everyone who would come after.
But here's the real kicker. His greatest gift wasn't just the sheer amount of stuff he knew. It was his method. Farabi's most powerful legacy is that relentless focus on investigation over imitation. He basically gave us a blueprint for how to be intellectually free.
And so that 1,100-year-old question from Farabi, it loops all the way back around and becomes a really personal question for each of us today. His entire life's work is a challenge for us to look at our own lives and ask, what popular opinions, what unexamined habits, what convenient truths am I just accepting without question? What shadows am I watching on the wall of my own cave?